All right, good morning. The Committee on Parole is called to order. Today is Tuesday, September 9th, 2025. The time is 9:30 a.m. My name is Cheryl Renaud. I'm serving as chairman of today's panel. My colleagues on the panel this morning, seated to my left is Mr. Danny Byra, and to my right is Mr. Pete Freeman. We're situated at DOC headquarters in Baton Rouge. So I'd like to get the staff here to introduce yourself for the record, please.
Francis Abbott.
All right, thank you. And our first remote location this morning is at the State Police Barracks. Good morning, Captain. Would you and any staff you have there introduce yourself for the record?
Good morning, everyone. Pat Washington. No other staff, just me.
All right. Well, thanks for accommodating us this morning. And we have Mr. Richie there with you. Mr. Richie, would you introduce yourself? Tell us your name and DOC number.
Yes, ma'am. My name is Mark Richie. My DOC number is 304375.
And let me, before we get started, Mr. Richie, I want to acknowledge the folks who have joined us today here with us in Baton Rouge. Well, we have counsel here with you this morning. Counsel, would you introduce yourself for the record?
I'm Hannah Rose Brodell, an attorney with the Parole Project representing Mark Richie.
Thank you. We have your son, Alex Richie, Eric Richie, another son, Laura Richie, William Sharp, Caitlin Sandiford, Mark Richie, Imani Diaz, with the Parole Project, Chris Hernandez, and then by Zoom, we have Perry Stagg and Kerry Myers with the Parole Project. So first, Mr. Richie, I'm going to read some identifying information into the record and ask you to confirm it. And then we would like to get your statement first. We'll hear from the captain. We'll hear from the folks who will be speaking today. And then Mr. Freeman will be conducting the parole interview with you. You ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Richie, you're classified as a third felony offender. You're currently serving a 45-year sentence. You were sentenced in Ouachita Parish in July of 2007. 1 count of attempted armed robbery and 3 counts of armed robbery. You have a parole eligibility date, which is on November 2nd of this year. You have a good time release date in February 7th, 2043. Does all that sound correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So before we hear from your speakers, tell us this morning, tell us a little bit about how you got to jail and why do you think we ought to vote favorably for an early release?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. First, I would like to say that I'm very sorry to the victims of my crimes, Mr. Grover Smith, Miss Kaylee Bordelon, and Miss Glenda Sanderlin. To their families and to everyone that I have harmed with my thoughtless and selfish actions. The extent of harm I have caused far exceeds what I'm in prison for. My selfishness and my thoughtless actions have cut a path of destruction across many lives. I live every day with the regret of knowing that I was the cause of so much harm and trauma to my victims and their families and to everyone else around them. I'm in prison for committing 2 armed robberies and attempting a third. At the time, I had recently been laid off from my job and I was unemployed. I felt like a complete failure because I could no longer provide for my wife and children. While I had experimented with drugs in the past, my recent introduction to crack cocaine compounded my inability to cope with my financial hardships and my sense of worthlessness, and this led to a series of harmful and deeply troubling decisions. In October of 2005, I purchased a BB gun and a Halloween mask, and in a fog of intoxication and desperation, I decided to rob a store called the Red Door. At the door, I put on the mask and pulled out the BB gun, which looked very much like a real gun. I rushed through the door to the counter and I demanded that the young lady behind the counter give me the money in the cash register. She was in shock and and not responding. So I went around the counter and demanded that she open the cash register for me, which she then did. I took the money from the cash register and I left. This young lady, Miss Kylie Bordelon, was in the store alone that night. And I am so sorry for the fear and pain that I caused her. The second armed robbery was also at the Red Door. It was identical to the first, except there were 2 women in the store that night. I used the same mask and same BB gun, and I rushed through the door into the counter and demanded that the women give me the money. And I took the money and I left the store. These 2 ladies, Miss Kylie Bordelon and Miss Glenda Sanderlin, were working to make a living, and I robbed them of more than just money. I took their peace, their safety, and their sense of security, things that I know I can never give back. The fact that Miss Bordelon was present at both robberies deepens my sense of guilt and shame, which is no more than what I deserve. I pray that both Miss Bordelon and Miss Sanderlin have managed to heal and have found the peace and sense of security that they deserve in spite of what I did to them. No one deserves to be frightened and terrorized the way they were by me. I also tried to rob Mr. Grover Smith. He was at the boat launch at Shinny Lake in West Monroe. I happened to be driving by when I spotted him out there alone. I parked my car a distance away from him and approached on foot. His back was to me when I walked up to him and said, "Excuse me, sir." And I could tell by the look on his face when he turned to see me that he was shocked and frightened. He happened to be on his phone and told whomever he was talking to dial 911. I demanded that Mr. Smith give me his money. And while my actions were intimidating and threatening, he made it very clear that he was not going to comply with my selfish demands, and I walked away. To this day, I am impressed by his courage and bravery in the face of my thoughtless and desperate behavior. Not too long after this, I was arrested and taken to jail. And after a few days in jail, my mind began to clear and I realized how far out of control my addiction had taken me. The thought of the things that I did and the thought of the consequences my family would have to suffer were just too much to bear. And I decided to take responsibility for my actions, and I became determined to take whatever steps I needed to take to change. I knew the first step that I had to take was to take responsibility and ownership of all the terrible things that I did. I made statements to the police and confessed to everything that I did. I've had a lot of time to think about the things that I did, and I know that I was wrong. The harm that I caused drives me to stay sober and live my life in service to the people around me. I knew I had done terrible things, and the guilt and shame set in. Excuse me. I've been incarcerated for 20 years and have been sober through it all. I've worked very hard to address the issues that caused my addiction in the first place, including Christian counseling, therapy, and therapy from peer mentor graduates from the Bible College at Angola. I've consistently participated in and facilitated substance abuse programs such as AA, NA, and Celebrate Recovery. I've learned to love and cherish my sobriety, and I work to maintain it through accountability and continued participation in these programs. I learned to be a better father through Malachi Dads and Returning Hearts. I learned to be more compassionate, empathetic, and thoughtful about how my actions impact everyone around me through victim awareness and anger management classes. It is only by the grace of God that I am before you today, and I am asking you for just one more chance. please consider granting me the opportunity to finish out my sentence on parole. I now know that because of the programs that I've been exposed to and the things that I've learned, that I have a lot to offer. And I wish to give back to the community that I took so much from. Again, I wish to say that I am so very sorry to Mr. Grover Smith, Miss Kylie Bordelon, and Miss Glenda Sanderlin. To their families and communities, to my wife and children, and to my community, my actions altered the course of so many lives, and the guilt and shame will haunt me forever. I can never make up for the crimes I committed against my victims, and I pray that they have found healing, peace, and comfort in their lives in spite of what I did to them. I wish to thank this board for taking the time to hear this matter, and I also wish to thank the countless people I have encountered over the past 20 years who took notice of my potential and guided me and allowed me to use my gifts and talents to make the transformation necessary to become a better man and affect positive change in the people around me. I express my remorse not by what I say, but by how I choose to live my life. I pray that you can see I've changed and that you will have mercy on me. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you, and thank you for being prepared today. You put a lot of thought into that.
Yes, ma'am.
Well done. Captain, what can you tell us about Mr. Richie?
Mark's been here for 11 years. He's part of our maintenance team. In that time, I know community service is a big deal, and he's been a very big part of this community. He's a master electrician, so anytime we have, and y'all have been here, so you know we have power outages pretty regularly because we're in a very rural area. Mark is one of the people we call. Any kind of disaster relief that we have to get done, Mark is one of the people we call. He's been a part of every major project and renovation we've had here because he is our lead electrician. Actually, the only one we have classified as an electrician. So anytime that any work has to be done here, he does it. From simple things like working on generators to recently he rewired the entire inmate canteen and he hooked up our generator to do the automatic transfer when the power goes out. He's also been a part of the worship team on and off. He's a musician as well. Just all around a good hand to have around. Thank y'all.
Thank you. All right, so we'll hear from the folks who want to speak on your behalf. First, Mr. Stagg, could we hear from you?
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
So I've known Mark since about 2010, I think. When we originally started the Corrections Court Reentry program at Angola, Mark was one of the original vocational mentors that we tapped to help lead that program. The reason being, just like the captain just mentioned, Mark is a master electrician. He's a very talented electrician. Mark had continuously shown great moral character. We were very comfortable putting him around the young men in the program, knowing that he would, lead by example by his actions. Mark became very passionate about teaching. I'm not sure if he'd ever taught anything before that. We simply were impressed enough with his talent and his character to, ask him to be a part of the program and teach these young men. But he became very impassioned about teaching and really showed a lot of care and concern for the young men that he had in his program. A lot of the guys that went through Mark's class became electricians as well. They released, they went to the street, and they're being very successful now. And a lot of that is due to Mark's teaching and the character he displayed and demonstrated every day. I've still call on Mark from time to time. If I have a problem with a generator or a lawnmower, I'll drive out to State Police Barracks and go see Mark and get some advice or a little help on how to fix it. And so I've stayed in contact with Mark for all these years. He's a good guy. Has never given anyone a problem. Just like the captain said, when he was at Angola, he was always part of every special project we did. He was the first one to volunteer and step up. Just couldn't ask for a better guy to have around when you need something. So that's my opinion of Mark, and I hope y'all see fit to give him an opportunity.
Well, thank you for taking the time to speak to us this morning. We appreciate your input.
Mm-hmm.
Here with us, we have Eric. Eric, you want to step up to the podium, please? And then just tell us what you'd like us to know.
Good morning. My name is Richie, one of four siblings. Stand for you today respectfully request on behalf of myself and my family. Can you please grant my dad, Mark Richie, parole? My dad is a wonderful person. Feel so fortunate for the relationship that we have, even though he wasn't always physically there. I always felt that I had a father figure. They always made sure to teach us values of integrity and respect. 26 now, from as young as 12 years old, I've been with him nearly every weekend. He's always been a good, nurturing father. Feel so lucky that we had the opportunity to do father and son things that parents for our family to feel like on the outside. I'm so grateful to my mom and her dedication to making sure that we could always be with them. I'm not gonna lie and say that there hasn't been a void from physical separation with him, because there has been. And so emotionally, there's been a loss of love, affection in my life. There's missing him. Without him there, there's been a lot of financial hurdles for ourselves at home. And it was tough to become the man of the house in some ways. But our parents always make sure that we have what we needed. Even though he was separated from us, he still managed to do a good job parenting us. I remember many times going to visit my dad, and I would have things to talk with him about, struggles at work, different things in life that I didn't feel were going well. And he always was there to guide us through. At the in-between times were hard, but it was always so helpful to be able to have the experience to talk to him. The thing about my dad is he didn't always tell me what I wanted to hear, but he told me what I needed to hear. I've learned so much from my dad over the years. Really admire him, and without his guidance, I can imagine what an absence like this would do to a young man like me. There are many possible negative outcomes that could have happened. I'm proud to say that my siblings and I are all sober, functioning members of society. We have positive influences around us. We have a strong community and support network, love of each other, and unwavering faith in God. My siblings have always had significant others and relationships, but it's been a personal struggle for me because I've always wanted my dad to be present for that part of my life. And now that work is slowing down, I can be less career focused and met my fiance, someone who had values and goals that were along with mine. It would mean everything to have him at my wedding. He didn't have the opportunity to see us graduate high school or the electrical program, 3 times with electricians as well. Some of the proudest moments. We were always able to make up for that lost time during business and sharing that with him through photos. But it was hard to look around and see him not there physically. And for my wedding, big moments moving forward, I wanted him there. And not having him around is why it's kind of taken too long to get to this point. When I was over in school, my dad shared with me how he became an electrician, and I was very influenced by that. I didn't always feel like a college-oriented person. I wanted to use the opportunity to support my family financially. So I decided to pursue the same electrical apprenticeship program that my dad did. And when I went to go pick up the orientation materials for the apprenticeship, there's a photo of my dad on the fridge. I realized how big of an impression he made. I've been working for that company, coaching lectures for 8 years now. And when I went in for my initial interview, the boss of the company, Mr. Chad Copeland, asked me one question. He said, "Who's your dad?" I said, "Mark Richie." I've been working there ever since. So, my dad laid this professional path down for me, and it would be the greatest gift of my life to be able to work with him alongside him. Training my father for parole would not only reunite family that is held strong over 20 years of separation, it would give him the opportunity to continue contributing meaningfully to our lives and our community. He's never stopped being our dad, our mentor, and our moral compass, even from behind bars. We are ready for him to be present, not just in spirit, but in person. I want him to attend the wedding. I want to build a future where my children know their grandfather, not just through stories and visits, but through real shared life. My family's ready. I'm ready. Most importantly, I truly believe that my dad is ready. And on behalf of myself and everyone who loves him, I respectfully and humbly ask that you please grant the father, Mark Richie, a chance to come home. Thank you so much for your time.
You did a really good job representing the family. And so the parole project, Mr. Myers.
Good morning, Kerry Myers with Louisiana Parole Project. I'm not going to take up the board's time this morning. Mr. Richie is an excellent candidate. We've known him for a number of years. We're prepared to provide him with the transitional services that he needs upon reentry. He has a strong support system. He has employment ready. Mr. Richie is a perfect example of what corrections can do. The opportunities were there. He took advantage of them. He went beyond that, taking advantage of them. We believe Mr. Richie is an excellent candidate. Addiction can destroy lives. Addictions can also be overcome with the work. Mr. Richie has proven that. He's a success story, and we ask this board to grant his release today to Parole Project and to his long-term plan.
All right, thank you. And Ms. Bertle, we'd like to hear from you.
Good morning. My name is Hannah Rose Rodell. I'm an attorney at the Louisiana Parole Project, and I'm here on behalf of Mark Richie, who this board can see is a model of true rehabilitation. A man who has paid his debt to society, fully transformed himself by addressing the causes of his crime, and fulfilled the goals of our correctional system. As you've heard from Mark, his crimes were the result of poor decision-making, substance abuse, and trauma, all of which he's worked tirelessly to address ever since. And since he spoke about the nature and details of his crimes so well, I'd like to use my time to highlight some of his accomplishments. In 20 years, Mark has not received a single disciplinary infraction. This alone is extraordinary. But his growth and transformation go far beyond institutional confinement. For the past 11 years, he's held a placement at the Louisiana State Police Barracks, an honor reserved for less than 1% of the prison population. A position not freely given, but earned through trust, character, and conduct. When I first asked Captain Washington what he could tell me about Mark Richie, he said, "He's the hardest working person I've ever met, and you can't have him." Mark came to prison as a licensed electrician, but he didn't stop there. He went on to become a master electrician, skilled carpenter, and a maintenance trustee. Mark voluntarily remains on call 24 hours a day, where he is relied upon for everything from storm response to urgent repairs and electrical work at the governor's mansion. Chris Hernandez is here today to show his support. He supervises Mark in his daily work, and he told me that Mark has surpassed him in vocational education and expertise. Mark has also maintained something equally powerful: his role as a husband and father. Over the last 2 decades, Mark has maintained his loving and supportive marriage with his wife Laura and close relationships with their 4 children. Despite the distance, Mark has stayed engaged through regular visits, phone calls, and guidance. Today, all 3 of Mark's sons work as electricians, following in the professional footsteps that he laid. And Mark has secured himself a job opportunity to join them and work at Copeland Electric full-time on his release. Mark's impact doesn't stop with his family. He has taught and mentored hundreds of trainees, teaching them vocational skills and trades, but also instilling in them a sense of dignity, purpose, and hope. Jeremy Burns, a retired lieutenant and executive officer, submitted a letter in your material before you, and he said, "Mark was exemplary to say the least." His most impressive character trait is his kindness and willingness to help others, even when not in his best interest. He has shown that whatever journey he's on, he'll be the best example, not just for himself, but to those lucky enough to know him, and I have no doubt an asset to whatever community he's a part of. Mark has also addressed his past struggles with substance abuse. He's been sober since his arrest, pursuing, participating in, and facilitating every recovery program available long before he ever imagined parole would be a possibility for him. He and Laura are both facilitators for Celebrate Recovery, and we look forward to continuing that work on the outside. Taken individually, any one of these facts is extraordinary, but together they tell a fuller story. They tell a story of a man who built a life of integrity behind prison walls, not just by focusing on himself, but through service to others. I have been deeply moved by the outpouring, the overwhelming support Mark has received from staff, supervisors, peers, and loved ones. Each person I talked to spoke not just of his work ethic, but of his character. I've been equally moved by Mark's words and work, the genuine remorse he feels for the harm he caused, and in many ways, that remorse fueled his quiet but steady commitment to change. Mark's life is a living example of what faith through service looks like, and what redemption can truly mean. With the full support and services of the Louisiana Parole Project, and steadfast love of his family, Mark appears before you today fully prepared for a safe, meaningful, and successful re-entry. We hope and pray that this board can see Mark for who he truly is, an extraordinary example of the mission of corrections and parole. For these reasons, and for the reasons more fully outlined in the materials submitted to you, we respectfully request the board grant Mark's parole and release him to the parole project. Thank you very much for your time.
We also have here green cards from Ms. Chris Hernandez. And he says he worked with Mr. Richie for 12 years at DPS. He was respectful and cautious, always at work, never sick. I was able to let Mark work freely as he is the master electrician, a mentor to me at 57. And also William Sharp, friend. I've known Mark since 2014. I worked at the barracks as a police officer at DPS. I saw Mark almost daily on the job. He was never any trouble and always ready to help. I truly believe he deserves a second chance. Mr. Richie, the case has been assigned to Mr. Freeman. Would you answer any questions he has?
Good morning, Richard.
Good morning.
So how long have you served on this charge?
20 years, sir.
Okay. And I thought it was a mistake, but obviously it's not. You have not had any disciplinary write-ups for 20 years.
Never.
No. That's pretty extraordinary. I just want to tell you that. I think you took a lot of classes. What class you took that affected you the most?
I would have to say, if I had to pick one, I would say the reentry, my involvement in the reentry program had the most to do with really changing everything about my character. Because with my involvement in the reentry program, it opened up doors for me to take all the other classes that I was able to take, including Celebrate Recovery. I learned through the reentry program to be selfless in my actions and put other people's wants and needs in front of my own. And with that, it really just changed everything about who I am, because I had an opportunity to take young men who never had a chance in life and shepherd them and give them the support and encouragement that I never had as a child growing up. And then my access to Celebrate Recovery and the substance abuse programs that I had access to, being at, I was allowed to first take these programs and then start facilitating them. So I was able to help other young men who had substance abuse issues with with their recovery, which in turn increased my recovery. I really just learned to be a giving person instead of being selfish.
Okay, and the substance abuse, that was another thing that had kind of caught my eye. Do you think you need any more substance abuse, any long-term substance abuse? Do you think that would help?
Whether I need it or not, I plan to continue with Celebrate Recovery. I mean, it's really that is a church-based recovery program, and the church that I'll be going to has a Celebrate Recovery program, and that's just going to be part of my everyday life. Whether I'm participating or facilitating Celebrate Recovery, I will have active involvement in substance abuse from now on.
Okay, and you're gonna go to work for Copeland Electric, am I correct?
Yes, sir.
And, no, I do want to compliment you. I mean, you're very prepared today. You mentioned all the victims by name, which is very important because, you know, that's the reason we're here.
Yes, sir.
I don't have any more questions.
I don't have any questions.
I have no questions. I think we're prepared to vote. You ready, Mr. Mr. Freeman?
Yes, I'm gonna tell you, your family was very impressive, and you've done a good job raising those boys. Even though that you wasn't there personally, it looks like they've all turned out well. My vote today is going to be to grant
Thank you.
with special conditions that you get nowhere around Miss Bartalone, Mr. Grover, or Miss Sanderlin.
Yes, sir.
You're not to go anywhere around them. I don't want you living around them. Let's live at least 10, 15 miles away from them. I don't want them to have that in their face. But other than that, I also recommend 2 AA meetings a week, which I don't think would be any problem for you. And I think that's really basically all you need. So that's my vote today.
Mr. Byron?
I'm going to concur with Mr. Freeman and vote to grant you parole today based on your behavior in prison, the letters of support that you have. I think you wrote some very good victim accountability letters, which I don't see very many of those. Those were impressive also. And good luck to you.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Richie, I do agree. My vote also is to grant. My decision is based on all those factors, the positive, strong support you have from the facility staff. You have an excellent prison record. I will stipulate that you do follow or go through the parole project transition plan with the same special conditions, no contact with the victims. Thank you for the hard work that you've done, and congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Captain, we're going to sign off at 10:03.
Thank y'all.
All right, good morning. The Committee on Parole is reconvening. We're now at Dixon Correctional Institute. It is 10:07 on Tuesday, September 9th, 2025. I'd like to ask staff at DCI, please introduce yourself for the record, Warden. You and your staff, please.
Assistant Warden Emily Smith.
Down on Cavalier classification.
Amanda Safety Record.
Public King Richard. Jamie Duvall, mental health.
That's it.
Thank you. Thanks for accommodating us. And we have our first case up this morning is Mr. Taylor. Good morning, Mr. Taylor.
Good morning, ma'am.
To introduce yourself to the panel, tell us your name and DOC number, please, sir.
Name is Troy Taylor, DOC number 130737.
All right, Mr. Taylor. Let me acknowledge some of the folks that have joined us here in Baton Rouge. Well, on Zoom, we have the Parole Project, your sister Patricia Scott, your brother-in-law Tyrone Scott. They all want to speak on your behalf. We'll ask them to do so at the appropriate time. Representing the victim, we have here with us in Baton Rouge, Miss Margie Johnson, Mr. Richard Johnson. On Zoom, we have Secondra Bartholomew and Charmaine Wilson. And we'll ask for comments from those who've indicated they'd like to have input. First, I'm going to read some identifying information into the record. Mr. Taylor, you're classified as a second felony offender. You're currently serving a 58-year sentence. You were sentenced in 1990 for first-degree robbery. You have another sentencing date in May of 2002 for attempted second-degree murder and second-degree kidnapping. You have a parole eligibility date, which was August 1st, 2021, and your good time date, your mandatory release date is August 12th, 2054. Is that information correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I know this is a rehearing for you, and I think we may have a little different format in that we want to hear your statement first. We'd like for you to tell the panel, why are you in prison? And why do you believe we ought to favorably vote for an early release today?
Yes, ma'am. Are you ready?
Yep.
All right. Ma'am, I was out one night drinking and doing drugs, and I'm not gonna sit there and blame my action on drugs. And I decided to go to a friend's house, like I normally would do. And somehow I wound up attacking Miss Secondra Johnson with a knife while she was in her bed sleeping. And we wound up doing the scuffling when she was trying to get the knife from me and pleading me to stop doing what I was doing. And I wound up and I forced her into her car and took her to Baton Rouge where I almost stopped the car, and she jumped out of the car to save herself. And what I did, I shouldn't have been at that house. I wronged for what I did for being at the house in that condition I was in. And I've been knowing her for a long time. And I would like to say it from the start that I'm sincerely removed for the crime and the action that I caused Mr. Condros, mental and physically, for what I did to her. But I can tell you, ma'am, I'm not that same person that I was 24 and a half, almost 25 years ago, that drug using man that I was. I've changed. I took this time to rehabilitate myself. I entered the program that was here for me. And when I came on parole back in 2022, I was denied parole for lack of rehabilitative programs. And I went up again to deny again for unsaturated parole supervision and victim opposition. But I continued on as a rehabilitated man and stayed as a model prisoner, and I continue to work. I've been working the same job here at Dixon Correctional Center for the last 10 and a half years. And I took my program for victim impact and I used it, and it made me realize years ago what I did not only affected Miss Secondra Johnson, it affected her family, my family, her mom, her sister, her grandmother, her auntie, the whole community of St. John, I would say, not knowing what I did. Because I remember years ago, I would go back, my sister told me, she came see me, she said, Troy, sometimes we do things in life not knowing how to affect people. And it really made me look, and I said, God, please be with me on this one year and ask for forgiveness. And I'm here today asking forgiveness for the crime I committed against Miss Secondra Johnson.
All right, we'll have some questions for you shortly.
Yes,
Warden
ma'am.
Smith, what can you tell us about Mr. Taylor?
So Mr. Taylor has completed several rehabilitative programs, Thinking for a Change, Cage Your Rage, Victim Impact, as he spoke earlier. He has completed pre-release. He is currently enrolled in GED. I think he's been working on that for about 2 years now. Trying to obtain his high set. He has worked at the embroidery plant here at DCI for almost 10 years, I think, almost the entire time that he's been at DCI. He's kind of Miss Reese's go-to guy in the embroidery side of the plant. I think he does most of the embroidery on our clothes. He hasn't had any write-ups. We don't really have a disciplinary problem with him. He, like you said, he is fairly ideal inmate. He goes to work, goes to school, and stays out of trouble.
All right, good to hear. Thank you. So we'll hear now from the folks who want to speak in support. Mr. Myers with the Parole Project.
Good morning, Kerry Myers with Louisiana Parole Project. We're here to let the board know Mr. Taylor's rehabilitation is what impressed us. He has over 500 days of CTRP credits. After being denied twice already on parole, he didn't spiral. He continued to take that as encouragement. He continued to work on himself, which in itself is something that we believe that shows his character. It shows the maturity that he has. He's worked on his addiction. He has continued to take other programs that will benefit him in the future. Thinking for a Change, the victim awareness, living in balance, cognitive programs that helps him live the life he should have been living to start with. Those things have impressed us. He's been on the same job for 10 years. Stability, again, something that impressed us. He's working on his GED. He continues to work on it. He struggles with it a little bit, but the perseverance that he shows is also impressive. He's come a long way since in the 25 years he's been incarcerated. And again, this is what corrections is meant to do. It's the opportunities are there. Mr. Taylor's taken those opportunities and turned them into the ability to improve himself. We believe we know he has a long-term plan. It's a stable long-term plan with his family. Parole Project will provide him with the transitional services. He'll get an evaluation through our social workers. That'll be the first thing. So we would, ensure that he comply with recommendations from that evaluation. He'll learn things that he needs to know: financial management, technology. He'll learn how to function, social norms, consumer skills, the things that he absolutely needs to function in the world after 25 years. We would just ask this board to consider Mr. Taylor's hard work, his reentry plan, his long-term plan for residents, and grant his parole today.
Thank you. All right, on Zoom, we also have Ms. Patricia Scott. Scott, we'd like to hear from you.
Good morning.
Morning.
Scott, Troy's sister.
Yes, ma'am.
And from the time we went to see me, he began to be a good fellow, good brother. And then he asked for forgiveness. God would make a way for him and to get on out of there. All the thing he doing, trying to get his GED and all that, and working hard.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. And is that Mr. Tyrone Scott with you, who wants to also have some?
Yes.
Like to start? Go ahead.
Yes, I come to know Troy through his sister, and I just would like to also state and let the board know that I am the pastor of a local church out in the area where Mr. Troy, if the parole board was to release him, would be living. And at the church, we have a great mentor program, as well as we are involved with different self-help groups, NA, AA, and also that I am on my own business that the Lord allowed me to have, which employ uh, people when the opportunity for a job open. And I am familiar with many individuals who are what we would refer to as a second chance individual or third chance who have come from out of incarceration to give them an opportunity, because we know one thing that a person struggle with if they're not employed when they come from out of incarceration, it leads them to make bad decisions. So we try to make sure we're able to assist them in getting a job where they would be able to maintain a source of income to help themselves, to become able to manage money, not as well as just make it. And just on behalf that you may know is a passion that I have, also that I am the pastor, because over 20 something years ago myself, I was a dysfunctional person that had also wound up in the Louisiana correctional system. But since my release in 2003, I've been reformed and I've attained a lot of tools to help individuals that come out of incarceration, that they too may become productive citizens in the state of Louisiana, where they would no longer have to return back to institutions. So, whatever I can do or the ministry to help Mr. Troy become productive, body, soul, mind, spirit, financially, we will work in every area of that realm to make sure he stay the course and become a better decision maker. So that's sort of where I stand at. It's a passion that I have. And as I'm involved with prison ministry also out here in the local community where I live at. So that's pretty much my position that, Lord permitting, you guys see fit to release him. He will have not only the gentleman that's spoken before me, but also myself and the mentorship program and the support group of the local church where our pastor that also working along with you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you both for your remarks.
Yes, ma'am.
Now we'll hear from opposition. And we do have Ms. Secondra Bartholomew on Zoom. Ma'am, we're ready if you're ready.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
We can.
Okay. Today is still, this matter is still affecting me. I have not been the same for the last 25 years. To the fact that on Friday, just last Friday, I had a miscarriage behind the thought of this even happening again, me facing this man again that did this to me. So I just lost my child in the process of this whole trauma of reliving this again. To be here in front of all of you to relive this again. My nightmare started and everything all over again, fresh. And it's traumatizing to me to have to go through this again. And the possibility of this man even walking the face of this earth, because he does not deserve to, in my opinion, for is what I live with every day. I have 2 daughters that I'm trying to protect and make sure they safe on the face of this earth, my family. And his last words was to me, and I would never forget it, and it still haunts me to date, is that he been locked up so long, he know how to do away with my body in my car where nobody will never find me. And this is very traumatizing to me. It's very, very hard to even speak these words to you all and even have to relive this all over again.
Mr. Bartholomew, your input is very important to the process, and I'm sorry for your recent loss. And I know that appearing here today has been very difficult, and it is appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have here with us Ms. Martha Johnson. Do you want to say a few words?
Yeah, I'm here on behalf of my daughter because she wasn't able to be here. And I'm against Troy being released because my child was in bed sleeping 5 o'clock in the morning. And I don't know how he got in the house, but he managed to get in the house. He was on the street 3 o'clock in the morning. And he observed when my mother left the house at 5. And he got in the house and jumped on my daughter. She was sleeping. So all I want you to do is picture you guys sleeping and somebody jump on your back with a knife to your throat, drag you out of your bed and drive you to Baton Rouge. She jumped out on the interstate with no clothes on. So all I'm asking y'all is to just think about what y'all doing, because when he had my daughter, he promised her that he was gonna kill her and bury her body in Baton Rouge, and he was coming back for me. His hatred was toward me and my family. So he said he was coming back and kill all of us. So that's all I'm gonna leave y'all with, because it's on y'all hands, all of this here. Because people say they're rehabilitated, but evidently he wasn't, because he got out in 2000 and he used my mother. He called my mom from prison because he was a friend of the family. We treated him nice, fed him, he done ate from my mother's table and everything. So we all confused. Why would somebody would do this to your family? We still hurt. We still don't know why. And I'm devastated because, like I said, he left her with, if she hadn't jumped out that car on the interstate, she would not be here. She'll just be a missing child. We don't know what would have happened. And he would have been coming back for me. I wouldn't even know I was a target. But she said, Mama, I knew I was gonna die, so I was gonna die trying to get back to my mom, to save my mom. So that's why she jumped out that car before Cedar Lane. So every time I come to Baton Rouge, I'm picturing my child at Cedar Lane, buck naked with no clothes on. Nothing. That's all I got to say. Just think about what y'all doing, because you're putting all of us lives in jeopardy right now. And I don't have nothing against him, because I'm still shocked, wondering why he did this. What got in his mind to want to go in somebody's house and take them out of their bed 5:30 in the morning? And it was premeditated, because you waited and watched when my mom leave at 5:30, and that's when he went that door and took my daughter. I mean, if you didn't mean no harm, you should have went knock on the door while my mother was still there. But he waited till she left and went to work, and he broke in there on my daughter. So all this was premeditated. He could say he don't remember, I don't care, but it's on him.
Thank you.
Thank
Ms.
you.
Johnson.
I'm sorry for breaking down, it just got to me.
Sure. All right, Mr. Taylor, your case was assigned to Mr. Barra. Please answer his questions.
Mr. Taylor, it looks like this family was very nice to you. And I even allowed you to live at their address when you paroled out the first time for your first-degree robbery charge. And then something went bad, which we still don't know what it is. But I guess my question would be is, why did it happen? What was the reason?
Normally if I'm out at night and I'm doing drugs And what happened, well, sometime I might be in that area and I would go there and I would knock to her window, even if our grandmother was there, and they would let me in. I'll sit on the sofa sometimes, just smoke a cigarette or something. Or I still got drugs like that night there. I happened to be sitting there on that sofa. It's not intentionally waiting for Miss Right to leave. It's just that time I was standing there talking to some guys, and I said, "Well, I'm a girl on in." I didn't know she had left or not. I knew it was late in the morning time. And I went there and I knocked to her window, and she said, "Who is it?" I said, "Troy." She let me in. And I said, "I'm gonna hang out until I get up, give me a ride to reserve." And I sat on the sofa and I still had a little rock left and I put it in my pipe and I started smoking it. I had been out all night doing them drugs, all night long. And the next thing I knew, I had to jump on her back and with a knife to her throat. And I only learned that what happened from that by her testifying at my trial. That's how I learned really what I did. Other than that, I didn't remember other than being in the car in Baton Rouge. And she even said that I asked her where the knife at. I lost control. And I thank Jesus every day for taking that knife out of my hand. I thank him every day for it today. I still thank him every day for taking the knife out of my hand. But I had no intention of going there and hurting Mr. Conner. I've been knowing her since she was a kid. That whole family been knowing me a long time. They know I never had showed no signs of anger toward them. Even when I started back doing drugs again, when I was living there, they asked me to leave the house. I left the house like they asked me to. But still, we stayed in contact with each other. They let me come around or they'll come get me to do things for them. Wash their car, check their car, cut grass, whatever the case was. I would go and do it. So I never had no kind of anger or ill feelings toward them. But like I said, I'm not gonna blame what I did to her. It's solely on drugs. It's on me for even going there. But it wasn't intentional. Because I would always go there, whether it's right there or not there.
Any other questions? But do note that you did this while you were on parole supervision for a previous violent crime.
Yes, sir.
You know, you shouldn't have been doing drugs, and none of this would have happened. And you realize that. That's my only question.
Warden, I noticed on his report that we got fair for his work. Is there any reason why he would be rated fair?
Everything I see in here shows excellent.
That's why I was wondering, because I know you said he was the go-to guy, so you know, so, okay, thank you. I just wanted to clear that up. That's
Okay. Mr. Taylor, I saw you in 2022 before parole panel.
Yes, ma'am.
And I denied you parole, but I did mention that you benefit from substance abuse and programs. And I just want to say, since then you went to work, it looks like, doing that work. I see since then, right, shortly after that hearing, I guess, you did the victim impact training, you took some anger management and some substance abuse. So I want to thank you for doing that work.
Yes, ma'am.
Which one of those programs did you get the most out of, would you say?
I would say all of them, but the main one is the victim impact class. For not knowing at the time by the state of mind I was in and the choice I made to go to Miss Johnson's house, and for the mental and physical pain that she had to go through because of my negative actions, not only affected her, it affected her mom, her little sister, her grandmother, her auntie, her whole family, my family, the whole community in that area, St. John Parish, who know me and trust me and know that the Troy that they know is not that Troy that does not like that. Yeah, 30 years ago, I robbed the store. I was on drugs. I wanted some more crack. I robbed the store. And what happened here, I never had no intention of going over there. But that victim impact class was one of the top ones that I took notice of that brought me back and made me remember that you can't just do things in life and not consider other people, how it affect other people.
I don't think there's any other questions. There is still the same opposition that you were told that at your last two hearings. That all that is still there. That hasn't changed. I think we're prepared to vote. Mr. Balrock?
Yeah, Mr. Taylor, today I have to vote to deny your parole again, based on the violent nature of the crime that you committed while you were on supervision for another violent crime. and the law enforcement opposition. The DA's office wrote a strong two-page letter of opposition regarding you and your case, and the fact that you've only served less than half of your imposed sentence. So I suggest to you that you continue to take programs, continue to do the good work that you're doing there, and after you serve some more time, reapply.
Mr. Freeman?
I concur with Mr. Barra, and I also think that if they have it, you need a sex offender class. If I see a sex offender class, I feel a lot better because I definitely think you needed that. With my vote,
Okay. And Mr. Taylor, you know, based on the testimony we heard today, my vote today is to deny. I think you're going to get what you want at some point, but today's not the day. As Mr. Barra said, you haven't served even, you know, half of your sentence. And I think we need a little more time and a little more program. I agree with Mr. Freeman, sex offender, you would benefit from that as well. But keep doing the good work, keep working, reapply when you can. But today your parole's being denied. All right, good morning, Mr. Banks. How are you?
Y'all doing?
Good. Thank you for asking. Would you introduce yourself? Tell us your name and DOC number.
My name is Frederick Banks. DOC number is 598586.
All right, Mr. Banks. Let me read some identifying information into the record. You're classified as a first felony offender. You were sentenced 2012 indecent behavior with a juvenile. You received a 7-year sentence, were afforded supervision, but that was revoked in 2015 when you got another conviction. 1 count indecent behavior with juvenile, additionally 2 counts of indecent behavior with juveniles. You received a 5-year sentence on each of those. All that's running consecutively. So you're currently serving a 17-year sentence. Your parole eligibility was April 28, 2015. You don't earn good time, but your full term date is September 1st, 2026. All that sounds correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Your case was assigned to Mr. Freeman. I'm gonna go ahead and just turn it over to him.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am.
Okay. All right, I just want to note some things for the record. I want to put it in there. Subject is considered a level 3 on his static 99, which is considered moderate. We have some victim opposition. Did you complete sex offender treatment?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What did you learn from it?
I learned a lot. They talked about a lot, and I got a lot of it, but I'm still dealing with a little issues. But I didn't came along good, and I got myself together, and and I appreciate y'all giving me this opportunity to let me talk to y'all.
Okay. And how long have you been been in jail?
I've been in jail 11 years right now, about 11 years.
And what was your sentence?
My sentence was
17?
Yeah, 17.
I feel good.
He has.
All right, that's right, okay. And I do want to note that you were on supervision for indecent behavior when you committed this offense, and then you received 2 more counts while on supervision, which caused you to get revoked and to get this new sentence of 7, get your sentence. Okay, I have no other questions. No questions.
All right, thank you.
Warden, is there anything you want to, that you can add for us?
Yeah.
No, he currently works in the kitchen and has worked in the kitchen the entire time he's been here. I did see that he refused school back in 2020 and hasn't made an attempt to get back into school. Other than that, we have no disciplinary problems with him. And it looks like he has completed some rehabilitation programs recently.
Good, thank you. Mr. Banks, anything you'd like to say to wrap it up for us?
Yes, ma'am. I'd like to say to my to Christina and Garyana, I'd like to say I'm deeply sorry, and I hope they accept my apology, and I'd like to say thank y'all for this opportunity.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I think we're ready to vote. Mr. Freeman?
Okay, Mr. Banks, due to your poor supervision hearing history and law enforcement and victim opposition, plus that 3 on a static 99 is considered high in my book, and you get out in a year. So my vote today is going to be to deny.
Mr. Bob?
I concur with Mr. Freeman for the same reason.
And as do I, Mr. Banks. I appreciate the work you're doing. Keep up working on whatever it is you're working on. You say you have some issues. I hope you get that worked out before your release date in September of 26. My vote today also is to deny for the reasons stated. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, good morning, Mr. Martin.
Good morning. How you doing?
Good, thanks for asking. How are you?
All right.
Good. Why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us your name and DOC number.
Well, my name is James Martin. Date of birth 1/12/70, and my DOC number is 487931.
All right, Mr. Martin, I've seen you before. I was on a panel with you in 2023, a couple of years ago.
Yes, ma'am.
So this is a rehearing for you. So let me, we'll just jump right in and get started. I see you have your father, Mr. James Martin Sr. there with you, as well as a friend, Sherelle Williams. Both of those folks want to speak on your behalf, and we'll hear from them in a few minutes. Let me just enter some information into the record, Mr. Martin. You're classified as a third felony offender, currently serving a 15-year sentence. You were sentenced in December of 2020, simple burglary of an inhabited dwelling and distribution of cocaine. You are considered a habitual offender. Your parole eligibility date was April 6, 2023. You don't earn good time, so your full term date is July 6, 2034. Does all that sound correct?
No, ma'am. I'm eligible for 1 year under the nonviolent law. I'm eligible.
Time for a good time?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I don't see any credited so far.
I'm in living in balance and reentry right now.
Okay, well, good for you. Let's just go ahead and we'll start the interview. Your case was assigned to me, so I'll go ahead and take the lead. Tell us, Mr. Martin, we do a little different process. We want to take your statement first. We want you to tell us, why are you in jail? Why do you think you are should be granted an early release?
Yes, ma'am. I had a very serious drug problem when I was arrested. They had charged me first with a distribution. During that time, I was in the streets. I was on drugs real bad. Well, my mother was sick during the time. She had cancer, and she was on hospice. And my dad's an elderly man, and I just had a lot of problems. But there's a lot. I'm really sorry about a lot of people that I hurt when I was out there and the things I did while I was on drugs.
All right, so you mentioned you had a serious drug problem. How long you been in jail?
Almost 9 years.
9 years. And so what programs have you completed to address your drug problem?
I completed AANA. I'm right now. I'm enrolled in AANA. I go there every week. And when I was in Tallulah, they didn't have no kind of good time classes there, so I just got hooked to a Bible-based program. It was Crossroads, and I did a lot of spiritual work on my own.
All right. That was in 2021.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
You at DCI over a year, and I see that you have done one phase of the 100 hours pre-release program, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And have you done all? You just started living in balance, or have you finished it?
I'm almost finished. I think I got a week or two left living in balance.
You finished any? There's 2 phases. Which phase are you in?
I'm in the second phase.
So you've completed phase 1 and you're working on phase 2. What did you learn in that program?
I learned that this drugs is really serious. You got to be careful about the people, places, and things that you get involved with whenever you get recovered. You got to always work the steps and continue working the program. You can't never take that not serious.
So let me just say for the record that you have a very extensive criminal history. Much of it involves violence.
Yes, ma'am.
How many times do you think you've been arrested?
I'm gonna say about 12.
No. 23.
23.
And at least 17 of those involve violence. By
Yes,
that, I mean like domestic abuse battery, second degree battery, and so forth.
Yes, ma'am.
So have you been able to, or have you ever asked about anger management? I know you talk about your faith-based programs, but there's some other programs that could help you with whatever caused you to act in those violent ways.
I really believe in my drug abuse If I wasn't, when I'm not on drugs, I'm not even that type of person. And right now, I feel like I've got my life together and I got it going the right way. And I have no desire to use drugs right now.
You go back home, where you going?
I'm going to stay with my dad for a little while till I get my house repaired.
And where's your house?
It's in United Church Road in Covenant, Louisiana.
Same area where you got in trouble?
Yes, ma'am, close to that area. But that's
And
that was in
since
Covenant.
you talked about people, places, and things, you got to change all that.
Yes, ma'am. I know now, going through living in balance and all the programs that like you can't, no matter how serious it is or how long you done been off it, it's easy to get right back where you started from.
You a drug addict?
Yes, ma'am. I'm that addict. I take it one day at a time. And now I got my father. I lost my mom. It's been say almost a year now. My dad's an 83-year-old elderly man, and he really need my help now. So I can't really afford to go out there and do nothing negative no more. And plus, I'm a grandfather now. When I came to jail, I didn't have no grandkids. I got 6 grandkids now.
You had 6 grandkids in 9 years?
Right now, yeah, I got 6.
So I noticed on your master prison, and maybe the warden can help me here, on the master prison record, it looks like you left Tallulah and you went to Angola.
Yes, ma'am.
The note on the record says it was a disciplinary issue.
But it wasn't involved in me. It had a riot in the dorm, but they got 6 guys. They took the David Way for this.
Right, I remember now. And then you got to DCI in July of that same year. You've been there a little over.
Yes, ma'am.
What's your job?
I work at dorm audit, and I just do anything they need a trustee to do, cut grass or whatever need to be done that day. I just do everything.
What other job skills do you have?
Cement finisher.
Is that the job you held before you went to prison?
Yes, ma'am.
It's a pretty good job.
Yes, ma'am.
What's your level of education?
High school education. Then I went to did 3 years in the military when I got out of the army.
When did you start using drugs?
About 13 years old. Started smoking marijuana and drinking.
Mm-hmm.
Then it increased. I started using cocaine after that.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna defer to my colleagues first. I'd like to ask the warden, is there any input you can share about Mr. Martin?
So James Martin's been here for a little over a year. He has enrolled in 2 programs. He recently made trustee back in July, and he lives on compound 4, and he works as a dorm orderly, but like he said, he kind of does everything, cuts the grass, cleans the dorm, whatever needs to be done around the compound. We've had no disciplinary issues with him.
Thank you. Any questions?
Yeah, I have one question. Do you have any contact with your daughter, Jamaica?
Yes, sir.
Have y'all mended y'all ways?
We doing fine right now. That's her mother in behind me.
Okay. All right, I just wanted to make sure, because I noticed in one of your crimes, you broke in to fight with her. So I just want to make sure.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Byron.
No question.
So we'll hear from your family now. Let's hear from your father, Mr. Senior Martin.
All right.
You can say. You want to sit down?
Want to sit out there? All right, all right.
You can talk.
My name is James Martin Senior, and I was a concrete finisher. James used to work with me all the time. I kind of missed him when he left. But if you come back, I probably could. We probably could do some more work. People still call me to work, But by me not having him and another guy, I don't hardly fool with it. But I still do a little work. I'm still working.
Wow, good for you. And the plan is he's gonna live with you?
Yeah, he gonna live with me.
All right, thank you, sir. And then we have Sherelle Williams also that wants to speak. Go ahead, ma'am.
Okay. On behalf of the Williams family, Jamaica, I'm here just to be on his side as for going home. His father does need him, and he needs to work on his relationships with his kids. So he definitely need to be home. So my side of the family is all for it.
And the relationship with is it Jamaica? Jamaica, has that been met?
Yes, she's my firstborn.
And we do have the record. I think you wrote a position statement saying you are not opposed.
Correct.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. We appreciate you being here today.
Thank you.
All right, I don't see any other questions, Mr. Martin, and I guess we're ready to vote. I'm going to be voting first, and I really am concerned about your criminal history, and you haven't finished any programs, or enough programs, I should say, to really make me have a good feeling that you've addressed your substance abuse program, because you said you started when you were 13, and you know, your criminal history is indicative of some serious substance abuse problems. But, you know, I think you've been working hard. The warden said you know, since you've been there, you know, haven't been any issues. I would be willing to give you a shot, Mr. Martin, after completing an intensive substance abuse program. That would be a long-term program. Are you willing to do that?
Yes, ma'am.
And that's just, you know, based on the fact that I saw you before, I asked you to do some programming and you went to work and you did it. So that's what my vote would be to grant after completing a long-term DOC intensive substance abuse program.
How long with the program? How long?
Does it matter?
It don't matter. Just I know my father's sick. That's why I was really. It don't
Right,
really.
but we let DOC decide that. So I'm just saying a long-term intensive substance abuse program.
All right.
That's my vote. It takes a unanimous vote, so I'm just doing because you followed up on what I asked you to do. Mr. Byron?
I'm gonna concur with Ms. Renata.
Mr. Freeman?
I'm gonna concur with Ms. Renata, but upon release from the long-term substance abuse, I want a curfew from 9 to 6 with electronic monitoring for the first 6 months.
You understand
Follow
all
all
that?
recommendations.
You understand all that?
Yes, ma'am. The parole officer gonna have all that for me, huh?
Yep.
Yep.
So you go to work at that, when they send you to the substance abuse program, you got some work to do. And look, you can't mess up anymore.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
family that needs you, and you're not gonna get any more shots. And you gotta be on paper a long time.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good luck to you, sir.
All right.
There we go. There we go.
Richie.
You read it? Unmute there.
All right, Mr. McKinney.
Yes,
Good
ma'am.
morning.
Good morning.
Would you introduce yourself? Tell us your name and DOC number.
My name is Joseph McKinney, 595-994.
All right, thank you. And you have counsel with you this morning. Counsel, will you introduce yourself?
Yes, good morning, everyone. I am Steve Shapiro. I am counsel for Mr. Joseph McKinney.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Shapiro, we do appreciate you sent us a very detailed brief. We appreciate it. It's very helpful.
Thank you very much. Worked very hard on it.
So let me just, well, first, let me also acknowledge you have your brother, Billy McKinney, there with you. Excuse me, they're on Zoom, as well as your mother, Ms. Linda Skinner, and they want to speak, and we'll call on them at the appropriate time. The way this works, Mr. McKinney and Mr. Shapiro, is I'm going to read some identifying information into the record. We'll ask for confirmation of that information. Then we'll ask Mr. McKinney to make his statement. I'll tell him what we expect to hear from him. We'll hear from the warden and the family members, and then we'll turn it over to Mr. Shapiro for his presentation before we actually start our parole interview. In the case, it's been assigned to me, so I'll take the lead on that. So we'll just get started. So, Mr. McKinney, you are classified as a first felony offender. You are currently serving a 35-year sentence, sentenced in Ascension Parish in May 2015 for molestation of a juvenile. Your parole eligibility date is September 15 of this year, 2025. You don't earn good time, so your full term date is January 19, 2049. Does all that information sound correct to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So, we'd like to get your statement. We want you to tell us why are you in jail and why should we consider voting favorably on early release?
Yes, ma'am. I committed a sexual crime against chastity. I was a full-blown meth addict and alcoholic. I made some terrible decisions, which cost me my life and my family, my children. I know Chastity's probably watching right now. Chastity, I'm very, very remorseful. I'm very sorry for what I've done. And I wish you could understand that I was a full-blown meth addict on anhydrous meth for 20 years. I've lost my mind, my moral focus, my decency. What I've done was terrible. I know that what you had to go through has probably been extremely critical for you emotionally, spiritually. Very sorry. I missed out on you girls' lives and everything. I should have always been a part of you and your little sister, Josie. And I'm very ashamed of who I was. I'm very, very ashamed of who I was. You never got to see my true potential. I was a sorry excuse for a father. Looking back now and trying to realize where I went wrong, I just know that if meth in my heart, I take full accountability for my actions. If meth and alcohol had not been a factor, I know I would have not committed these crimes against you. I know
All
I've
right,
been,
Mr. McKenna, we need you to address your remarks to us and not Chastity.
yes, ma'am.
Go ahead and continue. We want to know, okay, so we'll get a little more information about your crime, but what have you done since you've been in prison that would warrant early release?
Done everything I could possibly do. I read the Bible inside and out many times. I've done risk management, which is a 4-phase sex offenders class. I understand addictive behaviors now and sexual disorders. I understand the 27 risk factors inside and out. I know them by the back of my hand. I've taken Celebrate Recovery. I've taken Living in Balance. I've taken a class called Impact, Victim Impact, Listen and Learn. That was very helpful. Let me understand what crimes do to victims and their families, the ripple effect it creates on the victim, the friends, the family, the community, things I didn't know before. I've taken Ashland University. Coming to prison actually saved my life. As difficult as it has been for me and the obstacles I've had to deal with, coming to prison actually saved my life because I know I would have never stopped drugs if it wasn't for coming to DCI. And I know that I'd probably be dead by now. I was able to obtain my college education. I obtained my associate's and bachelor's degrees. And I've utilized my time here. I've changed the way I think. I'm now in control of what comes into my mind, my heart. I'm now a sober individual. Meth, although it's available, is never going to be a factor again. I'm never going to resort back to anything even remotely associated with my old life. I have no desire to put anyone through that or to live that way again. I'm a changed man. I've done a complete 180 since coming to DCI.
Well, I'm glad to hear all of that work. That's hard work. I'm glad you're taking advantage of those opportunities. I agree. Prison probably saved your life. So we'll move on. Warden, what can you tell us about Mr. McKenna?
I don't really have a whole lot to add. He went over all the programs he completed, and he did earn his associate and his bachelor's degree. He is a Pride member, and he currently works in the greenhouse on Unit 1.
Can you speak to his conduct record?
He hasn't had any write-ups since 2018. So, I mean, no real disciplinary issues.
Good. All right. Thank you. So we'll hear from your family now. And I think they're both at the same location. So I'll let you all decide who would like to speak first. Just introduce yourself.
Yes, I'm here today to speak on the behalf of my son, Joseph McKinney. My name is Linda Skinner. I'm his mother. I understand more than most people how actions affect the lives of so many people. The past actions of my son have devastated the lives of both his children, myself, his siblings, and his own life. I believe in my heart that if you give him the chance, he can go out into society and live an exemplary life. Joseph was raised by me, a mother who tried to instill the love of God and family above all else. I know he's returned to that faith to have been able to make it through the last 12 years. I will always be available to him to love and support him because I know he's going to need that in the future. I believe he can go forward and never commit a crime like that or any crime ever again. I know Joseph has been a model prisoner, and according to your records, he is at the lowest level to ever recommit. He's taken every self-help class that he's been offered. He's gotten a college degree with outstanding grades, and he was even on the dean's list. He's finished, excuse me. He's finished Bible course after Bible course, trying to better understand the will of God in his life. I know none of these things can ever change the crime that he's been charged with, but I truly believe in my heart that he will never do those things again. He will never take drugs again to lower his inhibitions, though I know that can never be an excuse. Please, please let him show you, the court system, and most importantly, his children, that his life is going to be different. Joseph has been promised a job in the masonry trade and an apartment in Lacombe, Louisiana. I've already secured that for him. He has an excellent brick mason and has many homes that he has pictures of that he built before this happened. He's worked at Dixon making tombstones for the deceased prisoners. He spent months making a walking trail for the prisoners so they didn't have to walk in the mud when it rains. He also works in the greenhouse, as you stated before. He lives in the honors dorm and has been there for many years. Please, please allow Joseph to show you that he can be a credit to society and his family with a changed, and show you what a changed life can really look like.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. Appreciate your remarks. Now you have we have Billy McKinney.
Yes, ma'am. My name is Billy. I want to speak on, for Scott, that, I too think he's definitely a changed man now. I think that if you guys give him a chance, that he will definitely do what he's supposed to do. And, he's done everything he could to better himself while he's been in there. And, I just know that he's changed and that he can make it if you guys give him a chance to prove to y'all that he can make it out here. He has family support, and we love him, and we got his back, and I know he'll do better.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for speaking with us. So, Mr. Shapiro, we'll turn it over to you now.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. A lot of what I'm going to say has been covered already, but let me just point out, as you can see in the position paper memorandum that I wrote on behalf of Mr. McKinney, my primary focus was on his rehabilitation. I've been a lawyer for 34 years. I've seen a lot of things. I know you all have too on the parole board. I find that Mr. McKinney's strength, courage, composure, and hard work has been nothing short of remarkable. And I don't say that lightly. Here's a man who started out and he got to work very quickly. He has completed, and I want to say that the memo itself provides you with the evidence of all these things, and I did that intentionally so that you can see not just my words, but that is backed up. He's a very low risk. He's done right, and I want to get back to him personally. I've gotten to know him as a person as well, and I have confidence in him a tremendous amount. But I just want to point out that I don't know how much more Mr. McKinney could do within the confines of prison to better himself. There may be other things, who knows, but he's a lot better on the outside world, trying to accomplish these whatever he wants to do in life. And I think I know I've stated what his short-term goals are and what his long-term goals are. But again, I want to focus again on his rehabilitation, everything he's done, 2 different college degrees, an associate and a bachelor's. I even put in, and I did this intentionally to put in a paper that he wrote in his bachelor degree, where it was actually a very well written, and the analysis was very interesting. Was not aware of some of the problem. I think it was based on a fictional event, but it showed the kind of work he can do. And writing is as we all know in our lives, is extremely important. He's a very intelligent man. He's not your average inmate. And I'm not trying to disparage anyone else, but he's done a very, very remarkable job in prison. Again, I am mainly and only really focusing on how he's done here in everything that he has attempted. Building a walkway for other inmates, a totally unselfish act to help people. And I didn't find out today that the main reason was these guys go get an expensive pair of shoes and they got to walk around. It's a little muddy up here sometimes, I guess. And this allows them to walk on the path without ruining $100 pair of shoes. So things like that, a lot of unselfish acts. One thing that I found also remarkable is building tombstones for the inmates that have deceased here. Inmates come here and end up here for years and years and years, and they pass on, unfortunately. Mr. McKinney, with his skills, has built, I think, at this point, about 58 headstones for the departed co-inmates he had. One recently, a dear friend, which I think affected him, but he's handling it well, like he handles many other challenges in his life. I think also building a headstone for the Secretary of Corrections dogs who have passed on. I don't know, he hits me in a certain place. I'm a dog lover. And my lab, Nadine, is just is my whole life, and she's recovering from cancer right now. That's just as an aside, but she's the love of my life, and she's the 3rd lab I've had. The first one I got was in law school in 1986. These creatures are angels, and when I hear that he built tombstones for dogs that have passed on, that really hit me in a certain place. He also built a tombstone for one of the employees' sons here, who passed on, was killed actually in my understanding, a drive-by shooting, and he voluntarily built the tombstone for the person, the young man who died. In closing, I think I know that this prison term has saved his life. He's availed himself of, I think, every possible opportunity, and he has excelled, and he is a changed man from the day that he committed the offense in this case. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Mr. Shapiro. All right, so Mr. McKinney, do they call you Scott or Joseph?
Scott.
I heard your brother call you Scott. I said, oh, wait, it's
Yeah.
Joseph. Okay. Well, I'm gonna call you Mr. McKinney.
Yes, ma'am.
So I noticed, I think in the record I saw, do you have a limited duty status?
Yes, ma'am. I have a lower back injury, but I still work. It's not critical.
Okay. All right. So I will acknowledge all the programs that you mentioned, your attorney mentioned, your mother mentioned, and I made notes of them all here in my notes. And I want to thank you for for doing that work, and for your educational achievements and your your degrees that you've earned and worked hard for, and the effort you put forth toward working on yourself.
Thank you.
And your contributions to DCI with the tombstones and the walking trail and all of that. That's just remarkable. But there's consequences to things you have done. And I can't help but I have to look at your history, and I have to look at your first arrest in 2011 was aggravated second-degree battery, felony cruelty to juveniles. It says nonviolent, but criminal neglect of family and resisting an officer. And in this particular case that we're talking about, the offense you're currently doing time for, the victim, it didn't happen once. The victim is your own daughter, and it's started when she was about 6 years old and continued for a number of years. It wasn't one incident, it wasn't a day. It was a long period of time. The record indicates that you used sex as a bargaining tool to get what you wanted from your daughter. And she had actually, I believe, had been under foster care due to previous incidents of abuse. She really has lived a very hard life. It's my understanding she tried really hard on many different occasions even to forgive what you did, but the abuse kept up. So, I believe there's consequences. You've served 11 or 12 years of your 35-year sentence. We have very, very strong opposition from the community. That's the sheriff's office, the sentencing judge, the attorney general, the district attorney's office, the early release for you. So I don't really have any other questions of you. I have more information, but I'm not going to share it to the world. But your case is very concerning. I do think you're on the right track, and I think you'll make it one day, but I'm not willing to do that for you today because of the insufficient time served, I believe, on the serious nature of this offense. So I will defer to my colleagues for any questions. All right. Yeah, I don't see any questions. So, Mr. McKinney, I'm prepared to vote for all the reasons that I've just stated. Insufficient time served, very strong opposition, the age of the victim, and the length of time that this crime occurred over time. My vote today is going to be to deny your parole today. Mr. Byron?
I concur with Mr. Knotts for the same reasons.
And Mr. Free?
You've done all the right things. I'm 100% agree with Mr. Renata. In prison, you've done all you can, but I also agree you got to do the time too, and you hadn't even done half yet. So my vote today is also going to be to deny.
Mr. McKinney, today your parole's been denied, sir. And Warden Smith will sign off from DCI. It's 11:27. Thanks for your help today.
Thank you for your time.
All right, good morning. The Committee on Parole is convening. We're at CADDO Correctional Center. And I see there's an officer in the room. Sir, could we get you to introduce yourself for the record?
Yes, ma'am. My name is Lieutenant Parker Crockett.
Lieutenant Crockett, thank you so much for accommodating us this morning.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
and you have somebody else?
Yes, ma'am.
Deputy Davidson classification.
All right, thank you so much for being here. Mr. Toliver,
Yes, ma'am.
would you introduce yourself, sir? Tell us your name and DOC number.
Yes, ma'am. My name is Patrick Toliver, DOC number 329181. Good morning.
Morning. And you see on your screen, we have your sister, Miss Singer, who is here, and she wants to say a few words, and we'll ask her to do so in just a moment.
Yes,
We're here for the revocation decision this morning. Do you have any paperwork there with you?
No. Yes, ma'am. I have this parole revocation questionnaire.
Sir, is that your signature down at the bottom of that page?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
All right, so based on that form, it was determined you're not eligible for appointed counsel today. So are you ready to proceed without a lawyer?
Yes, ma'am, I am. Thank you.
So let me just read the allegations against you, and then you'll enter a plea of guilty or not guilty, and then we'll talk about it.
Yes, ma'am.
You're accused of violating condition number 2. You failed to report to your parole officer and submit a monthly supervision report as instructed since your release on December 17, 2024. How do you plead to that violation?
Guilty.
And then there's condition number 3. You were not living at your listed residence, 1852 Laurel Street in Shreveport, which was stated on your diminution of sentence, which you signed December 17, 2024. A warrant was issued April 7, 2025, and you were arrested July 11, 2025 in Atlanta, Georgia, and extradited back to Louisiana on July 31st. That's when you were booked into the CADDO Correctional Center. So how do you plead violating condition number 3?
I plead guilty.
All right. So what's your statement?
My statement is prior to, I was at Camp Beauregard, and prior to me being released, I was in communication with my sister and my aunt. And I was sending money down there. My aunt's husband had passed. He died on this job with a heart attack. And so she had muscular cirrhosis, and she was unable to take care of herself. And so once I got released, my little sister, she was like, I think you need to come check on Aunt Val. So I made a decision, and I'm wrong for that, and I apologize for leaving without getting consent from my parole officer. But when I got there, I took her to the hospital and discovered she had stage 4 liver cancer, jaundice, and she gave me power of attorney over all her affairs. I funeralized her on, she passed May the 6th. I made arrangements on the 10th with the funeral home. The 16th of May, I funeralized her and packed her apartment up and was heading back to Louisiana, and someone reared the U-Haul. And so we called the police, and that's how I got apprehended, but
Right.
I had actually, it was my turn to step up for my family. And she was 5 years older than me. We were raised up like sisters and brothers. And I mean, I had to carry her. I had to feed her. All her medical decisions. I took care of all of that. I even preached the funeral. I have it's posted on YouTube under Valerie Henry. If anyone cares to view it, that's the only evidence other than my sister's being a character witness for me. That's the only evidence I have. It's the funeral. I posted the funeral on YouTube. Yes.
Okay, we'll hear from your sister now. Miss Singer, what would you like us to know? You're still on mute.
Okay, hello, can you hear me?
Ma'am.
Yes, he's telling the truth. I like he said, we was going through a lot last year, and when my uncle died, my aunt, she wasn't able to really work and stuff like that, and I was pregnant. I ended up getting pregnant in March and was working and was going through a lot, so I couldn't like able to do too much. And so therefore, you know, I was in communication with my brother. He would call me from jail and stuff. And I was crying like I need help, you know, no one's really here to help me. Aunt, she's 81, 82 years old, and she wasn't really able to do too much. So I'm like, it's just me, and I can't carry all this load, you know, by myself because I had a boyfriend. He wasn't helping out much. And so I'm like, I really need someone, Patrick, you know. And so, and that's how he ended up in Georgia.
Okay. So it's not that I believe you're not being truthful today, Mr. Toliver. What strikes me is why didn't you communicate with your parole officer?
You know, I have a bad record, you know, with just I used drugs for years, you know, and I haven't done right by that parole office. I'm gonna be honest with you.
I know you
And
haven't. You have been revoked 9 times at
yeah,
least.
and yes, that's correct. And you know, it's not the fact that they would not have done the right thing. I just believe I just knew I haven't never did the right thing. And I didn't think that I would even get even get a chance with the parole office. You know, I'm just being honest with you. I used crack all my life, and I'm sober now. When I was arrested, I don't use drugs no more. You know, and so it would probably have been better than what I thought. But me looking at my past and how difficult I have been for them, you know, it was like, well, no, they ain't gonna do nothing for me. That's what we're going through my head, you know, and it probably would have been different.
All right. So what is your level of education?
I have a GED. Yes, ma'am.
That's it?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, I went to American College for security, and I have some seminary from a couple of extensions. Yes, ma'am.
Well, I'm sorry for the loss of your aunt,
Yes, ma'am.
but I can't excuse the fact that you really absconded. I get it that the address you gave on your good time certificate was really uninhabitable. That was in your preliminary hearing and was verified by your officer, but not communicating based on your history. You're a 14th felony offender, 14. And you've acknowledged that, but you know the rules, and it's not our fault that you had a bad record with your parole officer and you've been revoked 9 times. You should have communicated with your parole officer, and I find you pled guilty to both allegations, and I find that you violated both rule number 3 and condition number 2 and condition number 3. So I'm ready to cast my vote. Do y'all have any questions? All right, Mr. Toliver, as I said, I find you violating condition number 2 and condition number 3. My vote today is to revoke your parole. Mr. Byron
I concur.
and Mr. Freeman.
I concur.
Today, Mr. Toliver, your parole is being revoked. Good luck to you, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Thank y'all.
Now, I'm going to sign off from CADDO at 11:42. Thanks so much.
Yes, ma'am.
Bye, Patrick. Love you.
They can hear you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Please keep your comments to yourself until we start the hearing, okay? Thank you.
All right, Committee on Parole is now convening and we're at St. Bernard Parish Prison. And we have before us Mr. Miller. Good morning.
Good morning.
And would the officer please introduce yourself for the record? Your microphone, Mr. Miller, is on mute, and we need the officer to unmute it for you.
Yes. Got it.
Yeah, could we have the officer, sir, would you introduce yourself?
Sergeant Babin.
All right, Sergeant Babin, thanks so much for accommodating us today. And this is Mr. Troy Miller.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Miller, would you, what is your DOC number?
108538.
And we're here today for a revocation decision.
Yes, ma'am.
So before we're going to put up a form on the screen for you. We have on Zoom, as you can see, your fiance, Miss Betty, and your sister, Miss Earlene, and they want to speak. We'll ask them to do so shortly. First, I want you to look at that document on the screen. Do you see it?
Yes, ma'am.
And you refused to sign that document in May. So
Yes.
why did you refuse to sign it?
Because I was under the impression that the officer said he didn't have a copy to provide to me at the time. And it didn't indicate what was the purpose.
Well, the purpose of the form is to determine whether or not you're eligible for appointed counsel. So can you read it right?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand the allegations against you?
At this point, I do. Yes, ma'am. Since the 28th. Yes.
Right. Have you ever been diagnosed with a mental health condition?
Well,
Yes or no?
bipolar. Yes. Yes, ma'am.
All right. And are you wanting to speak on your own behalf today?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you ready to proceed without counsel?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So we're ready to proceed as well. I'm going to read the allegations against you, after which you'll enter a plea of guilty, and then we'll hear from your family and we'll talk about it.
Yes, ma'am.
So you're accused of violating condition number 4 of your parole conditions. And it reads, you were arrested by the St. Bernard Parish Sheriff's Office, April 1st, 2024, charged with a criminal act of sexual battery. You pled to an amended charge of criminal mischief, May 13th of 2025. You were sentenced to 6 months parish prison, 5 months with credit for time served, 1 month suspended, and 1 year inactive parish probation. You have since filed to rescind your guilty plea in court, and you had a August 5th, 2025 motion date. So we'll talk about that in a minute. How do you plead to violating condition number 4?
Not guilty, ma'am. Based upon the sexual battery is not guilty. And I would urge the board to consider the guilty plea of misdemeanor criminal mischief based upon the circumstances that will be discussed here today.
Let me hear from your family. We'll talk about whatever it is you want to talk about. Ms. Betty, what is it you'd like us to know? You got to unmute. Betty? All right, while she's trying to figure that out, Miss Earlene, your sister, Miss Earlene?
I am not his sister. First of all, my name is Earlene Neighbor. I
Thank you.
was supposed to be on another case and
Okay.
it done screwed up and I'm very upset.
I'm sorry.
I know it's not your fault, but I'm not his sister. I do
Okay.
have about.
Thank you.
Wow. Lord.
So To call her and find out what case she's here for. Mhm. So, is Miss Betty, can you hear us? You have to unmute your microphone in order to speak. All right, apparently she's having some technical issues, so we'll go ahead and start with our conversation, Mr. Miller. So tell us, we have, what happened in court when you went back in August? You did a motion in early August?
Yes, yes, ma'am. And what it was is the fact that there was some kind of communication or understanding concerning the parole officers who were conducting the preliminary hearing. And as a result of that, my witness was not allowed to come in. He said he would talk to her in the parking lot and got her statement. I attempted to admit into evidence an affidavit from me appearing to you all. And so I filed a motion to the judge concerning me not having the hearing based and on time, basically. Because what I've been reading about the rules from the board is that I'm allowed to have witnesses, to present evidence, to cross-examine, and to have a prompt revocation hearing after the preliminary hearing. So since May up until now, we get into September as a result of me refusing to sign the form because the officer claimed that, the parole officer claimed that he didn't have a copy to give me. And the rules is that he's supposed to give me a written notice of everything. So the judge, what he did, he was like concerned because him and the district attorney and myself, we always have sidebars before court opens. And based upon what will be presented here today, this is how the misdemeanor criminal mischief came to play because the district attorney didn't want to go forward with the cases because of some credibility problems. I tried to get him to go on record with it, but they say they can't do that. None of the judge asks you all to give him some type of indication when you're going to hold a hearing and whether or not my plea would result in me serving a life sentence all over again as a result of the misdemeanor criminal mischief. And I don't really understand this order myself, and I don't know that whether or not y'all could have answered that. That's why we're here today, I assume, because I know you can't tell.
We're here today to determine whether or not you violated condition number 4.
Yes, ma'am.
And we've been provided, a multitude of evidence, different reports and different documents, as well as videos that indicates you did violate condition number 4. Regardless of what happened in court.
Right, exactly. Right. I understand. It's your determination. It's the board has the complete authority and discretion to determine whether I go back to prison for life or not. I understand that. But the judge was just concerned what's going on after me being in prison 15, 16 months. And after I pled guilty, he just really don't know the process, I guess. And so
let me, we do have Miss Betty on the phone now, so we'll take a break and we'll hear from her. So
yes.
She's on the phone. She's not on Zoom.
Oh, okay.
Betty, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm going to turn the volume up a little bit so he can hear you. What would you like us to know?
Oh, I just wanted to explain, just talk about his character and stuff. And,
okay. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right, because I know he's been incarcerated 35 years, and he's been out now 7 years, and he's been doing great. He's a real influence to the people in the community. He helps out with a lot, and it's just that I feel that they should revoke his parole because I really don't know everything else that's going on, but I know he's been in his community. He's doing well. He's been out 7 years now. We have been doing a lot of great things, together. And I call myself, I'm the first lady in Israel, because he's out there and he do assist a lot of young children, the young men that out there helping them stay on the right path. And I said, like the situation that's going on, I don't know what really what this parole hearing is about right now. That's what the character is talking about, saying he has that rehabilitated and he's doing good out here for himself, and he's been working and doing different things in the community. And I know everyone in the community misses him, his family misses him. We all just need him back in his community because there's a lot of things that he can do in his community.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for connecting with us and sharing that information. We do appreciate it.
And I don't know what was going on with my phone, but I kept on trying to unmute, but it wouldn't let me say you still couldn't hear me.
Well, I'm glad you were able to join us by phone. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Have a nice day.
Okay. So you tell us what happened at the Oak Ridge gas station.
Yes, ma'am.
And remember, we have a video.
Yes. Oh, yes. Yes. The video was one of the crux of the hearings at court. And it came as a result of this victim, alleged victim, making a 911 call 6 hours after the alleged incident, which was at her home after she got off. And there's evidence where she stated that she told her manager, her coworker, what had happened. I don't know whether or not the board received affidavits from Mrs. Brianna Nicole regarding that she was not notified as her manager on that day of such an assault in a public place as such. And it was strange for the victim to leave the place of business, didn't tell no one in the store what had happened. But if there was anything that happened in the store, the employees was there. Remember, the lady also mentioned in the hearing recommendation section 3, where they stated that she said, I cursed her out. In the police report, she said that she came, I asked her that I would like to touch her body to see how soft it was. And I was willing to give her a tip for such. As a result, she stated to the officer that I came to the side of the counter where the entrance door at and reached my arm over the counter, attempting to place money in her pocket. Whereas I didn't place it in her pocket, she stated I reached and grabbed her private part. However, going back to the statement, he offered her a tip as a result of touching her body. As he walked to the side, she met him there. Just assuming for the moment, Mrs. Renaza, if I was to make these kind of lewd statements towards this alleged victim, that I wanted to touch her body and I wanted to give her a tip as a result. Remember, in all the reports, she said she was uncomfortable with me coming into the store, making comments towards her all the time. But if at this point, I offered her a tip to touch her body and I walked to the side and she met me there, that does not sound like someone who's uncomfortable with somebody who's making type of remarks or trying to touch their body. Why would you meet somebody if you're uncomfortable with him? Is you behind the counter? Now, one of the initial statements is that as I was paying for my items, I have here, excuse me 1 second, Detective Carrero, days after. His affidavit for arrest warrant states, on April 2nd, Detective Sergeant Daniels, a member of the St. Bernard Sheriff's Office assigned to the criminal investigation, conduct a follow-up investigation in reference to a sexual battery which occurred at Oak Ridge gas station located at 5815 East Judge Perez Drive in Violet. On April 3rd, Detective Sergeant Carrera met with the victim, an employee at Oak Ridge, advised Detective Sergeant Carrera that on April 1st, while working behind the counter at the Oak Ridge gas station, Black male customer later identified as Troy Miller, DO, date of birth 8/14/65, wearing a black hat, black shirt, entered the business, began making an inappropriate statement towards her. The victim stated that she was uncomfortable and advised Troy to stop, which he complied. He purchased an item, left the business. Short time later, he entered the business, advised that while continuing to work behind the counter, he attempted to place money in her pocket, but she refused. She refused. But in their statement to the officer who came on the scene after 6 hours, that came to her house, not to the store, but to her house, 6 hours later, while she was on the phone playing with the phone, she stated that she met me there for the purpose, I would assume, for me to touch her body and give her a tip. Because remember, she stated that I wanted to give her a tip as a result of touching her body. And I walked to the side and she met me there. However, the biggest dispute in this whole matter dealing with this lady who has since been fired, for selling alcohol products to teenagers, who was also accused several times of stealing out the CAD register, and which I have
Not
on.
about her, this is about you.
Yes, ma'am. And on this, I have the thumb drive from the detective in the interview room where she stated that at the time that it occurred, it occurred at 10:30 to 12 o'clock. I'll never forget it the day of my life. I had a reservation to the international airport in which I was driving for Uber at the time. The gas up and got cigarettes. And what happened was, as I began to leave, I noticed she did not provide the cigarettes in the bag of the other items I had. And so when I went from the counter, if you see it on the video, I left from the front counter. I didn't go out no door. And she's saying I went out the door and come back in. That's a lie. The video don't show that. I left from the cash register, went to the side where the cigarettes was located. Hey, you forgot my cigarette. She got an attitude, talk about, oh, you don't need it. And I grabbed the cigarettes out of her hand. That's what I'm pleading guilty to. Other than the sexual battery, that I reached my hand, which is criminal mischief, on that private property of that store owner by that counter, inject them cigarettes out of hand. The money was in my hand, the change fell on the floor. And if you look at, you will see where she jumped back and looked down why the money fell out of her hand. That's what she was looking at. So,
All right, Mr. Miller, Mr. Freeman has a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so concerning all of this, so you're admitting that to prostitution, you were solicited for sexual.
No, sir.
You
No,
wanted
sir.
to touch her.
No, sir. No, sir. What it
That's what
was.
it sounds like here. I mean, that's what you're saying.
No,
Did
I
you
didn't say
give
that.
her a tip to touch her body.
No, I was saying, let's assume that. I didn't say that happened. It was behind my cigarettes. I say, let's assume that I wanted to touch her body and give her a tip, and walk to the counter, walk to the side of the counter, and she met me there for me to give her a tip. It's not even sensible. Because
How has your conduct been since you've been there?
Since I've been here?
Been in that prison?
Who?
You had a charge, didn't you?
I've been on edge. I tell you no lie. I've been on edge. I've been on edge because of this. I've been diagnosed with cancer. I got a decision to make whether for them to take my whole prostate. I understand. I'm just saying. I've been on edge here.
That don't excuse for bullying.
No, sir. That's right. But
Mr. Barra has a question.
Yes, sir.
Mine goes off of Mr. Freeman's question. I wanted to know what you have to say about the cell block video that shows you harassing other inmates that they were reporting that the prison saw. They claim you were bullying, you were putting your hands on them.
Wow.
And you ended up getting put in lockdown over that after the hearing.
Yes.
What about that?
Well, there was no hearing, sir. They supposed to have dismissed those charges, and I need you to get the major on that one, because that report's supposed to have been gone. Yes, sir. Anyway, I was one of the guys who always try to be sanitized. We was on a medical tier. Like I said, I fractured my back. You see this thing I have on, and I was sick, and now I'm diagnosed with cancer. And there were men literally shitting, excuse my language, poo-pooing in the shower area. And I'm the only one that gets up every morning. They can show that. I'm GIing like I did in Angola and even Elaine Hunts. I was an orderly, and that's what I did. And that's what I was about, protecting germs and different things, because they had people with holes in their bodies with infections coming out. And that's what that came from. That's why I said I was on edge. And facing all of this here, that was the only reason for that write-up. That's why I need to major on that, because
You saying you never got it locked down over that?
yes, that they did. Yes, sir. But
You ended up locked down?
yes, sir. But the charge put had been dismissed based upon the appeal. So
And what about they saying that you made your own set of rules for the cell block for other people to follow? Who could watch TV? Who could eat first? Who could eat second? What place they could eat?
what is that again?
During your bullying, you were making your own set of rules for the cell block, you and one another guy.
How could I do that? And
That's what I said, how-
and security is right there. No, sir. I can't. I don't have no control over that. They pass the food through the hatch. I can't do that. That's
Okay.
impossible.
All right, what about when they say you wasn't taking your prescribed medication while you were in custody and that they were finding medication stashed in different places?
Medication?
Yeah.
Oh, I had 2 Tylenols. That's what that was. That wasn't no.
Oh, that's not.
Yes,
All
sir.
right. That's all the questions I have.
I'm gonna, Mr. Miller, I'm gonna ask for executive session for a moment so we can discuss some confidential matters. So just stand by. Can you call the roll?
I'll second.
Freeman.
Yes.
Renata.
Yes.
Barrow.
Yes.
All right, stand by. It's 12:18. We'll be in executive session.
Thank you. Well, what you mean if they want them? I'm calling. I need.
All right, Mr. Miller, we are back in session. Well, I'm moving to come back into regular
Second.
session. It's 12:20, and without objection, we're back in regular session. Mr. Miller, I think I've heard enough. I've reviewed enough of the information and evidence that was provided to us. You pled in court to criminal activity. And based on the video and the information that I've seen, I do find you guilty of violating condition number 4. And my vote today is to revoke your parole. Mr. Barrow.
I concur with Ms. Renata for the same reason.
Mr. Freeman.
I totally agree. I concur.
So, Mr. Miller, your parole is being revoked today. We'll send you some information. You will have an opportunity to request re-parole. But we'll send you some information on how and when that can occur. Good luck to you. We're going to sign off from St. Bernard at 12:21. All right, the Committee on Parole is reconvening at 12:26 on September 9th, 2025 at East Baton Rouge Parish Prison. Y'all are on mute. Can you unmute? And I'd like to have the officer please introduce themselves for the record.
Yes, ma'am. Lieutenant Kay Mayberry.
Thanks, Lieutenant Mayberry, for accommodating us. And we have Mr. Ross. Is that Mr. Ross?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Would you introduce yourself, sir? Tell us your name and DOC number.
Kentrell Ross.
Where did we go?
I can hear you. We're good. Or did you lose us?
There we go.
Give us your name and DOC number.
Kentrell Ross, 455-724.
Got it. And do you have any paperwork with you, a parole revocation questionnaire?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that your signature at the bottom of that page?
Yes, ma'am.
And that indicates that you're not eligible for us to appoint a lawyer for you. So are you ready to proceed without a lawyer today?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so we're here for a revocation decision. I'm going to read the allegations and you can enter a plea. Well, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Byron. Your case has been assigned to him, so he'll read the allegations and have a discussion with you about them. It's for you.
All right, it's alleged that you have violated the condition number 4, that you're not engaged in criminal activity. And on or about 3/16, you were involved in criminal activity in the commission of the offense of aggravated burglary and aggravated assault in East Baton Rouge Parish. You were arrested by the Baton Rouge Police Department on 3/16/22 and on 4/5/22. The parole board recalled the warrant, dated, and continued your parole supervision. On 5/10/22, you were billed with the offense of attempted aggravated burglary, and on 5/31, a bench warrant was issued for your arrest. On 4/22/24, you had a trial before Judge Greggs. I don't see anything further. What happened at that trial? Is that still pending?
Yes, actually they dropped that charge down to criminal trespassing charge. So that's what I'm dealing with. But they allowed me to take care of this here with you guys because I only had 8 months left on parole.
So you're saying on that charge, that they reduced it to criminal trespassing and it's still pending?
Yes, sir. They dropped it down to a misdemeanor charge. I go back November the 5th.
Okay, I see that the outcome for the next one. All right, I'm gonna go to the next one. On or about September 12th, 2022, you were engaged in criminal activity in the commission of the offense of simple burglary in East Baton Rouge. You were arrested by Baton Rouge Police Department on 9/12/22. On 8/26/25, you were scheduled for a status conference with Judge Gregg, and that one was continued to November 5th, 2025, the second one. Subject pled not guilty to the alleged violation. At the preliminary hearing, the parole officer presented incident reports and details of that, which said the victim stated that you were under his carport and that you were trying to get after him with a screwdriver or something?
No, that's not that incident right there.
So let's just keep it simple. For Mr. Hansel, the victim, Mr. Hansel, what were you doing under his carport?
Actually, at that time I was homeless and on drugs. So, but within these 3 years that I've been in jail, you know, I've been rehabilitating myself and rehabbing. So, and I've been involved in programs. I got assets on help getting my disability and stuff because I'm amputated. I'm in a wheelchair. I'm amputated above knee. That should be in the paperwork too.
Mm-hmm. So what were you doing under his carport? They're alleging you were under his carport, and that's what the violation is, that you were under his carport and you got into an altercation with him.
He came outside of his house because of his cameras came on. It was raining, and I took shelter up under there because, just like I said, I was homeless at the time. So, and he came out because his cameras flickered, his sensors went off, and it activated his sensor mode, so it let him know that somebody was on his property. And when he came out, you know, he was kind of aggressive and stuff, but I was in my wheelchair and I was trying to get away, you know, and he called the police, stayed up till the police got there.
But you do admit you were under his carport without permission, right?
Yes, I do.
And the reason you were under his carport is because you felt that it was okay for you to go take shelter underneath anybody's carport that you wanted to go?
No, sir. Actually, I was in the streets. I was homeless, dealing with that, and it was raining. And I just took shelter there. I'm in a wheelchair.
So I guess my question is, what do you think gave you the right to just go take shelter underneath somebody's carport that you don't even know?
Honestly, sir, I was drugging at the time, so I really, at that time, I was drugging. So I mean, I don't have no explanation or no excuse or nothing like that. I was wrong, so and I take fault in my actions.
Yeah. Okay, in the second part of the criminal activity violations, they allege that Mr. Bias had his car missing and that the police found you in Mr. Willie Bias's car. What were you doing in Mr. Bias's?
The police did not find me in the car. I don't know how that paperwork is written up like that. I mean, they did not find me in the inside his car. That's the incident actually that I'm talking about. His motion sensors went off and it was raining. So and that's the house right there that I actually took shelter in because it was in the path of me going to my direction where I was trying to get to. Just like I said, I was dealing with homelessness and I was on drugs. I take fault in my actions. No excuse.
Okay. So you really didn't have permission to be in any one of those spots involving Mr. Hansels or Mr. Bias? You were just taking shelter.
No, sir. Actually, I was on drugs, okay? I can
Drugs.
admit that.
Okay. All right. And the third violation is number 10, that you failed to submit monthly payments toward your supervision fees and are currently in arrears $3,654. What did you have to say about that one?
I lost my leg riding a bike, a motorbike. Mr. Blake Babin, which is my parole officer, he came to the hospital when I got my leg amputated. That was the cause of all of this anyway in 2020 when I came home from West Baton Rouge. I had a freak accident on an ATV. I lost my leg. I'm an AK, I'm above knee. So Mr. Blake, which is my parole officer, he came to the lady of the lake when I was getting my leg amputated. So that's the reason why I was actually working. It should be in the paperwork. I have medical records and all that stuff, so.
That's all the questions I had.
How long have you been in jail on this charge?
1,095 days, 3 years.
3 years. And you said they offered you a misdemeanor, but you wanted to get rid of us first.
Yes, they drop it down to criminal trespass.
Okay. I have no further questions.
Because you mentioned your out date is in May of 26. Is that the date you're looking at?
Yes, ma'am. It's terminated after that.
I understand. Okay. So we ready to vote?
I asked for executive session.
Mr. Bauer has moved for executive session.
Second.
Can you call the roll?
Bauer,
Yes.
Yes.
Free.
Yeah.
We'll be in executive session for just a few moments, and we'll be right back with you, Mr. Ross. Stand by.
Okay.
Miss Okay, Mr. Ross, it is 12:36. I make the motion that we return to regular session, and so without objection, we're back in regular session. We're ready to vote on your case. Mr. Byra will be voting first.
All right. Today, I'm gonna vote to revoke your parole based on the continued criminal behavior while on parole and continued use of drugs.
Mr. Freeman.
I concur. You admitted that you went back to drug use and you had 2 different charges. I vote to revoke. You'll be out soon.
And I do concur with my colleagues. My vote today is to revoke, and hopefully this helps you move forward and settle your case in East Baton Rouge in front of the judge. I hope it does. Good luck to you, sir.
All right. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Hardeman, good afternoon. You have to unmute the microphone.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
There you go. So give us your name and DOC number, please.
I'm Serion Hardeman, DOC number 784852.
All right, Mr. Hardeman, good afternoon. Do you have a parole revocation questionnaire there with you?
Yes, ma'am. It's right here.
Is that your signature at the bottom of that page?
Yes, ma'am.
And so based on that information, you're not eligible for an appointed lawyer. Are you ready to proceed today without a lawyer?
Yes, ma'am.
So your case has been assigned to Mr. Byra. He'll read the allegations against you, take your plea, and have a discussion about it. Ready?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, it's alleged that you are in violation condition that you engage in criminal conduct on February 22nd, 2025. As a result, you are arrested on that date and charged with possession or carrying of concealed weapon by a felon, possession of Schedule 1, illegal possession of stolen firearm, distribution of a alleged drug, and obstruction of justice and prohibited acts paraphernalia. You were billed with possession with intent to distribute Schedule 1 under East Baton Rouge, DC 250183. Your next court date is September 23rd in the 19th Judicial District. How do you plead to that violation?
Not guilty, Your Honor.
Number 5 says it is alleged that you're in violation of this condition, that you were in possession of a firearm when you were arrested on February 22nd, 25, and charged with possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. How do you plead to that?
Not guilty, Your Honor.
All right. You want to go ahead and make statements about that?
Yes, sir. Like you said, I have a court date coming up on September 23rd. They had not billed me on 5 of those charges. The only charge I was building on was the marijuana charge. But at this upcoming court date, my charge should be getting dismissed or dropped down to a misdemeanor. I was thinking if I could have a continuance until I get the matter resolved, please. And this is not my house. This is the house that they're trying to say that I was at. This is not my house. I'm not even from Louisiana. I got kids inside Washington State. I'm from Washington State. I was born and raised in Washington State. I'm really not originally from Louisiana.
Well, based on your request, I'm going to ask for a vote on your request for a continuance. Mr. Barrow?
Yeah.
Mr. Freeman?
Yes, I think charges need to be disposed.
And I will also concur. We're going to grant you a continuance until you take care of those charges. Your court date is September 23rd?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, well, good luck to you.
Thank you. You guys have a good day.
We're going to adjourn from Baton Rouge at 12:42.